This is Will County's News Talk Sports, 1340 WJOL. It's time of the month where we bring you our friends from the NuMark Credit Union. It's Money Talk. And just in time for holiday spending, NuMark is rolling out the biggest offer yet for new consumer and business Visa platform credit cards, or platinum credit cards, I should say. From now until the end of the year, if approved, you can enjoy 20 months, 0 APR. Wow. Valid for in-person or online applications only. This is a great option for those wanting to pay off debt or take their time paying off their holiday purchases. To apply, stop at one of NuMark's convenient locations in Joliet, New Lenox, Crest Hill, Countryside, or Tinley, or call 815-729-3211. That is 20 months, 0% APR. All right, today we're going to be talking to the NuMark IT guys, Kevin Quinn and Bill Pacelli. Before we introduce them, I want to remind you that we are going to be giving away 2 Baker's Square Pie gift cards, compliments of NuMark Credit Union. So what we're going to do at the end of the program, we're going to ask you to answer a question that these two gentlemen will give you the answer to. I'm going to ask it. They're going to give you the answer sometime between now and 9:30. If you're the first correct caller on the Turk Furniture studio line at 254-7300, I'm going to give you those 2 Baker's Square gift cards. Sounds like a plan, does it not? So you've got to listen closely. Yes. Kevin Quinn is the NuMark Credit Union Information Officer. Bill Pacelli, the NuMark Credit Union Network Administrator. Mr. Pacelli, good morning to you, sir. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Mr. Quinn, good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, you guys are here. You're all ready to rock and roll. You got your NuMarks. Where's your NuMark stuff?
Oh, it's in the car.
He's
okay.
He's labeled. He looks like a NASCAR driver.
He's representing.
He's representing. All right, before we get into the topic of the day, guys, what's going on with Facebook, man? It was down. It was down all morning long. It was down yesterday. What's up?
Is this BGP leaks or what is this now? I haven't even looked into this one now.
Yeah,
was this?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's a lot of it. I haven't looked into the Facebook specific one, but I know that Google was down a few days ago, and that's the nature of the internet. I know that there was a ISP in Africa that was leaking BGP routes. That caused Google to go down, and I know there were some issues with China leaking routes, and basically that's just injecting information to the internet that tells everybody to go the wrong direction.
Yeah, it can be malicious or not.
Yeah.
It could be a legitimate mistake on someone's part who's not as experienced,
okay,
or it could be somebody maliciously kind of doing some sort of redirects where
because every 45-plus person didn't have anything to do this morning because Facebook was down. So.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, I hope they made it through their day.
Yeah, I got off of Facebook 2 months ago, and I feel so liberated.
Hi,
it's a new world.
My name's Kevin. I've been off Facebook for 2 months now. Did you get your little chip? Did you get a chip, too?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll get my 2-month chip, working towards my 6-month. It's day by day, guys.
Did you really bounce off Facebook? How come?
I did. You know what? It was like every little of a political fight on there, but the one that really tipped the scales was I got really excited after a Bears win, and I went on to one of my Bears groups, and I was like hoping to talk about, what are we going to do next week? And every single person was talking about trading Mitch Trubisky and how this team was overrated and garbage. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this whole platform.
That tipped the scales.
The
straw that broke the camel's back.
Yep. That's good. I applaud you. If it wasn't for work, I wouldn't have it. So
yeah,
I would not have it. All right, so these two guys are in here today. Today we're going to talk about Christmas, about the holidays, about security and everything like that. Let's talk first of all. Let's Bill. We'll start with you. Let's talk a little bit about your role at NuMark as the union or the credit union network administrator. What does that mean, and what do you do?
Sure. Yeah. So it's a lot encompassed with the with the job, but I really like to concentrate on the network security side. So Kevin and I will kind of determine if there are any potential security risks, how to go about fixing them, remediating them. So whether it be a patch, an upgrade, a configuration change after hours, something along those lines. And we really do it basically for our members. We want you to know that NuMark Credit Union is a safe place to do business with, that we're not only financially you're protected, but your data is protected. And we take it really seriously. As with Kevin as a CIO, we've concentrated on security and made it our top priority. So a lot of this stuff has to be done after hours, before hours, but we make sure to get it done. and a lot of it I would say is basically, it's like always a game you're playing. You got to stay ahead. If you cannot delay things, you want to find the fix and apply it as soon as possible without breaking 10 million other things.
How do you guys stay on top of it all? Now, granted, I'm sure you have a service, like the big eye in the sky that helps you out or things like that as well, but you still need to literally stay connected all day to see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's some of it's manual, some of it's going to Krebs on security. There's actually websites for CIOs. There's Slashdot, different communities out there for the public internet. But then, we have information feeds. We have like the financial services information sharing community. So I get at least 1,200 emails a day from these lists, and a lot of it's other financial institutions sharing information. It's also this the umbrella company putting out threat intelligence. So we do get a few things ahead of the general public. We'll get like FBI releases with marked red for sensitive, do not tell anybody about this. So that can be helpful, getting some of that information before it goes out to the general public, because when it goes out to the general public, that means the general public, including the hackers, all know that exploit exists and they know what to go after. So we get probably 2 or 3 feeds like that, as well as the public resources are invaluable as well.
You kind of like a government official. You get a daily security briefing, and DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2.
Yeah, I wish it was daily, but it's like every 3 minutes. I'll get an email that's this is going on right now. We're seeing. We're seeing suspicious activity coming from these IP addresses. So then I'm going in and making the blocks and everything, and it doesn't end. It's it's exciting, but it's it can be a little daunting out there, but it's always changing, and it's always something to do.
I'm picturing Top Gun.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise, and you got Iceman over here, and you're like, I got this one, man. No, you back me up this time. Do you guys like, I'll take this one? No, you got this one. Do you do that?
Yeah. I'd love to give the picture that like we're like these 2 handsome guys and like jets and everything and like flying around, but it's like just like 2 lazy dudes like on the phone, like, all right, I'll throw in that route. All right, I'll block that one,
okay,
and then
I'll patch the server tonight.
He's got his Coca-Cola. I've got my Doritos, and we're just kind of sitting in that chair.
It's not very glamorous.
No,
why aren't you guys built up?
I know.
Pedestal?
Oh man,
if
you watch NCIS, they make it so much cooler, where they're like actively fighting the hackers and everything, going back and forth. Here, I'll unleash the triple firewall sec, and I wish it was as cool as that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Kevin Quinn and Bill Pacelli here. They are the IT guys from NuMark Credit Union. All right, gentlemen, Black Friday just a couple of days away.
Yes.
Holiday season is here. Anything we can do to shop safer?
Yeah, I think definitely, especially during this season now, is a big time. Not that you don't ever want to not shop safe. Like, I wouldn't be like, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to shop unsafe. But during the holiday season, because the transaction amounts are so large for not only regular consumers but also businesses, big box, even small businesses, you really want to pay attention. Like, what you'll see commonly is emailing. So you'll see a coupon come in that the deal just seems too good to be true. And instead of being like, maybe this isn't real, the regular user will click on it, or maybe it'll be a link and their device becomes compromised because, it was $1 for, a 65-inch 4K TV. I mean, if it doesn't make sense and it doesn't look right.
Yeah, they want you to put in your bank information to accept the deposit.
Yeah. Or they'll even have like a fake Amazon email will come in and it'll say your order is shipped. Now, people order from Amazon so often now, I can see how you might be like, oh, what did I order? But you'll click on that and it'll actually bring you to a site that looks just like Amazon, but maybe one letter is wrong in the web URL, and it'll have you put in your username and password. You click sign in, it'll either tell you, invalid login, or it'll actually redirect you to the Amazon website itself. Well, the thieves are so complex, and there's such a complex network now, they'll get some sort of alert that they have the credentials and they can log into your account, lock you out, and pivot in all sorts of ways. So you really just want to be thorough about paying attention and not clicking on things like that. And then the other thing I always recommend is, and it doesn't seem like a fun thing to do before bed, but try to log into your bank account like through NuMark. You can go through the NuMark website or the NuMark app, log in at least once a night, and just go over your transactions to check out what's going on. Because you check them once every 2 months and then you go back and you're like, did I withdraw $400 from that ATM?
And sometimes they'll set up microtransactions just to validate that a card works. So if you start seeing $1, that's something you would overlook as $1.50 at the gas station. Well, that's them validating that that's an active card. So it might be $1.50 here, but then the next thing you know, $800 from Walmart is coming through.
Yeah, and you always just want to kind of review those, protect yourself. And again, you don't want to rely on your own memory, given how busy we are nowadays.
Guys, when you put your debit card in, it gives you the choice, credit or debit. Should you hit credit even if it's a debit card?
Yeah,
is
hit
that
credit.
Safer? Okay.
Yeah, it is safer. You just think of it like you're giving one less piece of information. That PIN is going to allow somebody to actually take cash out on that card. So you want to give as little information as you possibly can. I know some people pick debit because you'll see the transaction go through instantly. They ride different rails. But ACH, which is that's the way the transaction goes through. If you select credit, it's quick. It's very quick these days, so it doesn't take too long to clear.
All right, laptops, desktops, tablets, they're popular holiday gifts. What should we look for when we make a purchase or before we make a purchase?
Well, I mean, one thing to think of is combining the three. It seems like they've got a lot of the devices that will do all three these days. Looking at like something like the Surface Pro from Microsoft, the iPad Pro. It's got the mobility of the tablet and, same mobility of a laptop. But then also more core functionality like word processing and everything. Better CPU, better RAM that you would get from like a standard tablet. So those are good. And the one big thing, no matter what device you look at, my big recommendation, no matter what anybody asks me about it, is always go high on RAM. And as long as it's a 64-bit computer, which 99.9999% of computers are, you're going to want to get as much RAM on that as you can. And that's just it's where your computer stores information that you're actively using, and it's so much quicker than hard drive storage. So when you have more RAM, it's able to save more information electronically, digitally, like in those chips that are ready to be used, and it'll present it much faster. So go big or go home on RAM. In these days with storage, I would go flash-based or solid state. The days of spinning disks is over and done. And typically with flash-based or the solid state, that's when you'll start seeing it at 128 and 256 instead of the round numbers. I mean, of course, you will see 1 terabyte drives, but that's one thing to look for. If you see a 256 gig hard drive, chances are that that's a solid state or flash-based device. And the key to that is it's not spinning disks. It's all it's much faster. It's all digital. You're not there's not reads and writes on platters and everything that have to spin around for it to grab that information. And really, I mean, the biggest thing is find something that, looks and feels comfortable to use. When you're using your laptop, check the keyboard, just little things like that, because you don't want to get something that you just absolutely hate. And one thing I found is with my laptop and with all setups, like the new keyboards and how flat they are can be such a pain, a pain to type on. I bought one a few weeks ago and I absolutely love it, but mechanical keyboards. So if you set up like a little docking station in your house, look at mechanical keyboards. It's a throwback to the old typewriters, but it was such a more satisfying way to type. Yeah. You get that instant, that feedback from the mechanical clicks and everything. So just my little shout out to mechanical keyboards since I just purchased one.
Are you kidding me? I'm looking at it right now. You bought a mechanical keyboard?
Oh, they're amazing. So the problem is, I said they're a throwback to like a typewriter or word processor or something, which might make you think it's cheap. But they start out around like $60, $70, and they go up to about $200. But if you get yourself one of the, kind of brands that you might find at Best Buy, like a Logitech or something, you can find one for about $60, and you'll never want to go back. And when you're on somebody else's computer with their little thin, weird keyboard, you're just going to get angry.
He feels strongly about
Oh,
that.
yeah,
doesn't he?
I love my
I couldn't
mechanical
believe
keyboard.
it. I did happen to test one out because another employee got a mechanical keyboard, and I couldn't believe it myself. So if you are buying a new tablet or PC or laptop or whatever, well, I guess it'd be tablet and laptop. Try to see if there's some sort of docking system so you can get yourself a nice little keyboard, and then you can pick up the laptop to go, when you're in Starbucks or wherever, and use it there.
Wow. Very, very cool. I just found one for 55.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
there
Yeah, I
we
was
go.
just Googling one.
So,
Yeah. So there you go. It's interesting. All right. So let's say we do get a new PC, laptop, tablet. Let's talk about securing it for the future.
Yeah, I'd say right out the door, get some kind of antivirus system. I would say with the antivirus system, and this is going for Apple or Windows, Apple is not a more inherently secure operating system. It's more secure in that most attacks are targeted toward Windows because that makes up the majority and kind of the majority of PCs in the business landscape. But it's not, by its own nature, a more secure operating system. So I would look at an antivirus for either one. And one thing I recommend is doing a little research and look into next-gen antivirus systems. They're big in the enterprise world, the corporate world, and they're really starting to make some traction on the kind of home computer world. And with those, you get a lot of intelligence that isn't built into a traditional antivirus program. You can whitelist applications. So, I use these 10 applications. These are the only ones that should run on this computer. You've got kind of up to the minute. It's not the traditional model of downloading your latest signatures every week and then running your scan. It should be pretty instantaneous because they're comparing it to their threat engines that they have built on the conglomeration of information from all different users. So it's an important thing to have. There's a company, Cylance, out there that makes next-gen antivirus for personal computers. The other thing is encrypting your hard drive, but a lot of devices by default are doing this, but I would definitely recommend it on laptops and desktops as well. Phones seem to be doing it as long as you're setting a passcode. But for like a Windows device, you'd be looking at something like BitLocker. For an Apple device, you'd be looking at something like FileVault. Make sure you set that up.
It's worth the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, those two, BitLocker and FileVault, are free offerings with the operating system. So if you lose, so if you lose your laptop, desktop, whatever it is, and you've got a password on it, without that encryption, there are ways to read the information off of the hard drive without needing that password. All that information is just there. The password is the key to the castle. Without encryption, with encryption, that password is the key to the information. It secures all of that information because that's what the encryption is based on, the key. Sure. Your password.
All right, good. Hey, Bill, any latest threats going on out there? Security breaches?
I don't know if anybody covered the story by Bloomberg. It was called The Big Hack. It was really, really good. It's a really good read. You don't have to be technical to read it. It's basically insinuating, they're still investigating, but it's been going on 3 years now. So it seems some really good investigative journalism. It was about China using a microchip the size of a grain of rice embedded into these motherboards of servers that some of the largest companies in the United States use. We're talking Department of Defense. We're talking Apple, Amazon. Now, Apple and Amazon have come out and vehemently denied it, but sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So basically, the chip, what it does is when it got in, it wasn't in the original design. So when it got in and put in place and the server was racked up and powered on, this chip would try to phone home to a computer somewhere. Now, if it could phone home to the computer, the chip sat in between the RAM that Kevin was mentioning earlier and the CPU. So what happens is this chip, if it was able to communicate, not only could it modify the operating system, but somebody could tell it certain code to modify between the RAM and the CPU to say, hey, also send this data, here. And if it made it out their firewall, they could have complete control of the server. So when you're talking Department of Defense, that's a lot of top government secrets. It is still under investigation. There was, I believe, two of the company's names were Elemental and Supermicro. So Supermicro is a very, very large server provider there. It's pretty juicy stuff. I couldn't believe it, but it made sense. It wasn't in the original design. And when you see a picture of the thing they're referring to, I mean, you had to take a really insane scan, and you'd have to really know every single part of this server to even determine. Yeah,
That's scary.
It was wild.
It's done probably more than we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure. We just don't like when it's done to us. But if we're doing it to somebody else, it's okay.
You got it right. Oh, well, gentlemen, we have come to the end of our road here today. Thanks for coming in. I know. We'd love to have you guys back. And let's get together again. I'll send a note over to the folks down the street and say we need to have you guys back in first quarter next year, okay?
All right, we'll be here.
Beautiful. These are the guys that make sure that your money, your accounts, your information is all safe and secure when you are a member of NuMark. Kevin Quinn, the Credit Union Chief Information Officer, and Bill Pacelli, the Union Network Administrator. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good holiday. Make sure you eat a boatload of food, okay?
Oh, we will. Thanks for having us.
I'm just going 180 this year. We're going to just devour as much as possible.
That's what I'm talking about.
You got it right. All right. Hey, all right, here's our question today. You just heard from Bill about the big hack. Where do they think, or what country was this big hack originated in? He mentioned it. First correct caller on the Turk Furniture studio line at 815-254-7300 is going to win 2 Baker Square pie cards, compliment of NuMark Credit Union.